Hello, 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 and welcome back to the fucking yard. Yes, the podcast is back for its third run, I guess you could say. Started in 2011, I believe, with Alex doing a few shows, and then me and Alex brought it back this year. Earlier on in the year, we did a great run of podcasts every week. Now I think we're going to bring it back on a kind of just a general basis. Whenever we have an episode, we'll post it. And we have quite a few ready to go, or at least I do. Alex will still be posting them, I'll still be posting them, but we'll just kind of do it again as a kind of as we do them basis. Now, I recorded this one about a month ago, I think, and this will be part one of a two-part podcast, and it's me, of course, talking to Ads / Adam James Irwin / PsychoKid, yes, who's a very good friend of mine, one of my favourite opponents and favourite people from the backyard wrestling world, and so it was great to just to catch up with him in general, really. And our conversation went, around and about and stuff like that, and more of a kind of casual conversation, really. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. This will be part one, and then part two will follow at some point in the future. It was a great talking to him, and I think he was a bit concerned that did I sound shit? Was it shit? Oh, I was getting so drunk, man. But I think you'll all agree that it was fine, and Ad sounds just like himself, and he told some great stories, and I had a lot of fun talking to him and talking about good stories and things like that. So, without any further ado, on with the conversation.
Flair just won the IC title, so things are pretty good. How you been, man?
Pretty good, yourself?
Yeah, 2 weeks till I get married, so everything's a bit crazy, but
yeah, I didn't think we'd get to do this before that.
Yeah, no, neither did I, but I've managed to get rid of her for like a whole evening. Which is a bit
you
of
nervous?
No, not really. At the minute, I'm just stressed.
Yeah.
Everything's just so manic. I haven't got time to be nervous about it. But I'm sure I will be in a couple of weeks' time.
Have you been planning it for ages? Is it one of these big weddings?
I haven't. She has. I've not had much involvement. I just get told to do. Nah, it feels like forever. I just can't wait till it's done and I can just go back to having a life that doesn't entirely revolve around this wedding.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it.
Cool.
It's going to be good.
So, should we just get right into it?
Yeah, shit. Fuck. Let me just turn down whatever this event is. Unforgiven 2005.
Unforgiven.
It's actually started off pretty well.
Yeah, I remember when Flair, he was feuding with Carlito, wasn't he? And this one Raw, he cut a really great promo on him. It was really cool.
I don't know. I didn't really watch much around this period. I think I was already sort of done with the WWE by 2005 even. Spinny Belt Cena. So I watched the hype video minute for the whole event, and Spinny Belt Cena came out, and that was it. I was so not into Spinny Belt Cena.
Yeah. You into Cena now?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Cena's pretty much one of the best things in wrestling now.
Yeah,
I never thought I'd turn around so drastically.
Yeah.
But I can't really hate him anymore.
I know, yeah.
Because he's just done too much and he works so hard. And his matches are pretty decent. He's still a clumsy bastard. I hate the way he moves. He makes everything look sloppy and shit.
Yeah.
But the general psychology in his matches it's generally pretty spot on.
Yeah.
And I love that shit with Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not sold.
No, I enjoy the matches, but it gets a bit too finisher, kick out, finisher, kick out, finisher, kick out for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really mind that though.
Yeah, I know.
I'd still rather that than not a lot going on.
True.
And I marked for Cena taking weird underhook fisherman suplexes off of the second rope.
That stunner he does is no. What is he doing?
I don't know. I want to hate it. This is the weird thing. I hated him so much. I couldn't have hated another wrestler more. And now I can't help but just enjoy everything that he does.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I feel like I've been brainwashed.
I've always been a fan, really. It's just,
I hated him. I hated him so much, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Just unnecessary hate.
I'm with you on that. It's really just the way he moves. It's his body. His body's not made for wrestling.
It's not. It's just, I don't know.
But he's just
He
forced
doesn't
it.
even look tough, does he? He's so rigid.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't know. There's nothing fluid about anything that he does.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. He's just been there so long now that you can't really argue with it.
Yeah.
Whether that's like a good thing, I don't know.
The only thing that really bothers me about him is the whole the Blue Thunder spot, where everyone just like they don't even try to clothesline him. They just kind of like spin into it. Do you know what I mean? It's that no one makes it try and look realistic. It's
Yeah, don't say things like that. That kind of makes me feel sad. I'm not going to be able to ignore that now.
yeah,
It's gonna pick at me.
it's terrible.
Yeah, but there are so many moves like that though.
I know.
But that is a fairly blatant one.
Yeah. Anyway, backyard.
Right, yeah, shit, backyard.
So we'll do it the old school way. When was your first experience of wrestling? Maybe not the first time you watched it, but the first time that you kind of remember it being a part of your life.
I think the earliest thing I remember watching was a WWE pay-per-view. I don't even know which one it was, but it had Mick Foley and Terry Funk. But Terry Funk was what's his name?
Chainsaw Charlie.
Yeah, he had a pair of tights over his head.
Oh, God.
It was all a bit weird. And they're wrestling these two cool young guys, Road Dogg with his strange hair and Billy Gunn. And it was like a dumpster match or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Was it something like that?
Yeah, I've
They
seen
definitely
that.
had a dumpster match, didn't they?
Yeah.
And that's like, I don't remember it that well, but that's definitely the first thing I remember ever watching. But then from that, I think it was pretty much the first time I saw the Hardys. I'd watch wrestling like regularly, like it was on like Sky, like, you know, the heats and stuff.
Yeah.
They used to like just be played all the time. It was easier to watch them than it was to ever keep up with like Raw or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the Hardys, man, the Hardys kind of changed everything. They were like just backyard wrestlers,
Yeah, pretty much.
guffing around in the WWE, just doing like crazy spots. I just loved it. I much preferred that to like any kind of like fluid wrestling matches. I didn't really care about wrestling
No.
in that sense. First, it was just crazy spots.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone's like that. Everyone kind of just appreciates certain things that just wow you more than anything
I just
when,
like
when
high
you're
spots.
growing up. Yeah, high spots.
I just love everything. Should just build to a high spot. That's the easiest way to get me to mark out. It's just a high spot. I love a good high spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jeff Hardy, probably more so than Matt because Matt walks a bit funny. But, do you know what I mean? No one has said Matt Hardy was their favourite ever. Matt Hardy must feel like the worst, the most underappreciated brother. Oh, I wish I was Jeff.
Yeah, but he can slap
Everybody
it on
likes
either.
Jeff. I bet that sucks.
Yeah, he never quite got out of the shadow of that, did he?
No, yeah, Matt Hardy on his own was kind of cool until Edge publicly stole his missus, and then it became a storyline. And then how do you ever come back from that? I can't even believe that Matt Hardy agreed to like actually work that angle.
It was probably the hottest angle he's ever done, so...
Yeah, exactly. Like, how did that happen? And all it did was propel Edge even more. Cheers, man.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Matt, you're fired. See you later.
Yeah, that was pretty
Jeff
intense
Hardy.
remember when he turned up on Raw, like, unannounced, and people thought it was legit and stuff. That was pretty
Yeah, I still think it was just whack, man. Poor Matt Hardy.
cool. Yeah, he got the
His
bum
missus
end.
just banged his best mate, and then he got fired after his missus banged his best mate. And then they were like, come back, but you have to do a storyline with the guy who was your best mate who's banging your missus, and it's basically going to put him over. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Who says yes to that?
Matt Hardy.
Apparently so.
I like the version 1 stuff with the his entrance was like the Windows Media Player. Do you remember that?
And Matt Hardy facts, Matt
Yeah,
facts, something like that. Just come up at like little bubbles at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was weird. It was all right, but no one cared about Matt Hardy as much as Jeff. And Jeff Hardy is just, I don't know, he kick-started Backyard. And when I met Bazza, and Baz was obsessed with the Hardy Boys. That's the only reason I spoke to Bazza,
Yeah.
because he had a Hardy Boys logo on his general notebook.
How did you know him then, just through school?
Well, basically, I transferred to his school, and the school I came from was had a bad reputation for being like a shit school. and Baz's was like proper snobby. And we went to I moved to the snobby school, and the teacher found out I was from the bad school in a science lesson, and she was like, right, as punishment, you have to come and sit at the front next to Bazza. And all the other kids laughed at me, like, you're next to Bazza. Bazza's such a weirdo, like, curly hair, like, no one had long hair then. And he used to jump in bushes, so people thought he was odd. So that was a punishment, and I didn't speak to him for like the first 3 weeks until I saw a Hardy Boys logo on his general notebook. And since I was like, oh, you like the Hardy Boys? He's like, yeah, I wrestle. I love wrestling. I was just like, oh, mate, me too. And then that was it. Because he was in FUX, and I'd heard about FUX on the internet. The early stages of UKBYW. But, Baz was wrestling with razor wire and stuff, like kids in his school. And we were doing the same thing down the road, like me with Naylor and like Santana and stuff like that.
Okay.
And that's kind of how FUX, so like THE kind of stopped and FUX carried on. It was all a bit weird.
Huh. That's such a great little Genesis story, meeting Baz.
It was just one of those things, man. And now, like Jesus, he's an usher at my wedding in 2 weeks' time. He's you know what I mean?
So, when did you first even think, right, I'm going to just wrestle myself with, again, whoever it was, Naylor, etc.?
Naylor. It was definitely Naylor. My parents had got rid of some old sofas, and they were just on the patio in my back garden, and the fence was quite high around it, so neighbours couldn't see and stuff. And the sofa cushions were still on the sofas. So whilst my parents were out, shopping or whatever, me and Naylor decided to get a ladder out and do entrances and have a wrestling match just on the sofa cushions, and this tiny little space. You're never gonna have it. We were just literally just rolling around doing shit moves, and it went on for about 2 hours. It's probably the worst match ever. But it was so much fun, and then Naylor was like, let's film it. So a week later we were going to do it again, and then he'd started going online and finding a lot of US stuff. And I always remember Dave Maynard in his green sparkly green trousers and his white vest doing ridiculous flips, and just thinking, fucking hell, they're so advanced. But it was fun, and it kind of made us want to get better, because we're like, shit, we could actually film this stuff and put it on the internet.
Yeah. And
then we did, and it got absolutely destroyed.
What, did you post it on the link, or did you find the UK forum?
I can't remember. I'm sure it was the first ever UK Backyard forum. I can't even remember what guise that was in, or what it was called. But Rizzo was on it. People like Peach. I'm sure Peach was a mod or something like that. Was it Peach? Loads of people that aren't didn't stay around that long after that.
Yeah.
Or it probably just feels like that now. But we were on there. But it was all SWA, EMBW were around, and I'm sure ECW sort of in their earlier forms. But I still remember Dave's. What was it? Dave's Backyard Resident, the DBWF.
Yeah.
Or the thing Costa and Dreamer were in. What were they? SBW? Is that?
Oh, I'm not sure on the specifics.
I can't know. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe they were in Dave's Backyard Wrestling Fed. But when they all started sort of getting together, that's when we were about. And they were so advanced as well. Me and Ella were really behind. But a couple of other lads got involved, like Santana. I don't know. There's some weird kids. I can't even remember. There were so many weird kids that were involved. But it was just the best, man. It was just a cool hobby, and more people wanted to join in it. But it wasn't until we met Bazza and Razor Wire, and Gibbs came from there as well. Tic Tac, Ashley Dunn. They all sort of came from the FUX side of things, and then the THD some of them were a bit older than us as well, because they just sort of got involved. Yeah. So they sort of drifted off a lot faster. So it was natural for us to sort of start hanging around with the FUX guys, because they were the same age or younger.
Yeah. It's kind of a good summary for Backyard in general. There were some weird kids that got involved.
Yeah, everywhere you go, there's weird kids. EWE was like a breeding ground for weirdos. I don't know where Nate finds them. Nate finds weirdos.
He's a magnet for weirdos.
Nightmare, or something like that. He was in EWE, I don't know, man. There was something wrong with him. X-Gong, bless him, lovely guy, but, you'd probably cross the road on the high street if you were on your own, wouldn't you? X-Gong's kind of scary. Where do they come from?
I've never had the pleasure of meeting X-Gong, so...
You've never met X-Gong?
No.
Oh, JJ Cage?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Oh, see, I love Joey. Joey's a cool guy. But still, you don't meet people like Joey, every day. I'm sure Backyard is just a place to meet funny fucking people.
It is, yeah. It's when.
I shouldn't really put Joey in the same sort of region as Nightmare and XCOM because I think they both genuinely have some kind of mental handicap, whereas Joey's just a bit odd.
Okay. When did you start using the PsychoKid name? When did you start thinking, right, I need a name and all that stuff?
Naylor he was into this these weird programs online, like the programs I don't know, were they games, but it was like kind of fantasy wrestling.
Right. Yeah.
Where you'd get like a finisher, and you'd have to fill in all these little things, and then your wrestler would go up and like I don't know if it was like chat based or whatever it was, and there were like generic names on there that you could choose from. And I can't remember how he got to Tinhead Sid. But Tinhead Sid, well, what a wicked name. Tinhead Sid was so spot on, and I was so jealous. And then on this generic list, there was one that just said PsychoKid, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to have that.
There you
No
go.
other reason. I was just like, that's cool. And I couldn't really come up with anything better than Tinhead Sid.
I only heard that in one of the last BBWF comps. You said that in a promo or something. I'd never heard it before.
What, Tinhead Sid?
Yeah.
Oh man, Tinhead Sid was my first ever arch nemesis. Those feuds just used to happen in my mum and dad's back garden, like every weekend. They'd go out like on a Saturday, and I was around that age where you're allowed to stay at home on your own. Or, come shopping. No, I don't want it. All right, well, be good. We'll be back by 6. All right. Right, lads, come round. Wrestling event. Let's get it on. And you start building cards.
Yeah.
PsychoKid versus Tinhead Sid. And it was just the two of us to start with. So we'd have like 3 gimmicks each.
Yeah.
And then we had my cousin Lank. We just kind of forced him into it. He didn't even like wrestling, didn't watch it. But, he was over. So like, come on, mate, put a mask on. We just like used to wrestle on a couple of mattresses by that point in my mum and dad's back garden.
Yeah.
And then me and Naylor had our first ever. It was like a thing. It's in a comp, like a ground match. It's like fucking hell. Like everything else is on padding, and then like the main event is Sin, which is me in a ski mask with some string sort of attached for no reason, versus Snazzy J, which is just Naylor in a red shirt and an American accent. And we had this ground bump match, and that was like, wow, this is our main event. We're going to do some wrestling on the ground. And it was terrible, man. Absolutely terrible. But we'd never have thought then that we'd go on to actually like try and have real wrestling matches on just grass. What a dumb idea.
Yeah. Well, when did you start doing it? Was it because of the forum and you thought, well, I want to get involved?
You couldn't post shit on like padding anymore. Like people just wouldn't even like review it or rate it. You just get flamed like, well, shit, you're on padding. Yeah, okay, so I like some of it, but you're on padding. Like everything was, but you're on padding.
It's so silly when you think about it. It's like, what were we all trying to prove, Yeah,
it's odd. It's just some guys on the internet. At this point, I'd never even met. I already was like eager to like get better, and these were just people on the internet just giving you shit.
Yeah.
Like you post something you think you're proud of, and straight away people jump straight on it. Now, awful, terrible. Everything you did was terrible. You fed shit. And especially at the time, you had the like awards and stuff from the like the website, an actual website where you could get in the Premier League.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
No, I wasn't around for that, but I know of it.
Oh, it was. See, that was like made everything so competitive. Fed of the week, clip of the week, and there was like an archive that showed who'd won it. And then UVW came around at that time, and then that was it. Like it was just a game changer. Competition over. EMBW were kind of like so wacky in the beginning. They were so ahead of their time, and they were just setting the standard. And then I feel the next transition of that was UVW. They just, oh man, they changed the way everybody else wanted to wrestle.
Yeah.
And they won the awards every week. Like everything was just UVW, all their comps, man. Because everything they did was so good. Every comp got better.
Yeah, I remember like this just being there like an aura around UVW, really.
Yeah.
Like something special.
Presence.
Yeah, presence.
The characters as well. It was such a solid roster.
Yeah.
Other sort of smaller feds, I suppose, had like some really good wrestlers in there. Like NOW had like Kyle. Kyle was really, really good.
Yeah.
And I liked Reaper. Reaper was pretty cool. But Johnson was like a cool guy, but wrestling wise, he wasn't that strong. and there were a lot of other weak links in NRW. Whereas the whole of the UVW roster was just like just banging.
Yeah.
And the same with ECW. You had like Selby standing out. I was just doing crazy garbage stuff. Dreamer was obviously class, but I still think it took a long time for like other people in ECW to get over. Well, I think the ECW lot got over a lot more when people knew them. When you get the characters of people like Short Round and Costa, and Dave Veal obviously got so much better after ECW. I think like EV like progressed. So at that time, UVW were just untouchable because the whole roster was sick.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe Americana.
I actually wrestled him once.
You wrestled Americana?
Yeah.
I used to speak to him on the internet a bit.
The thing that you should really remember about ECW though is that they're all shit, and I don't know if you I don't know if you heard, but I actually beat Dan Dreamer at Britfest. So.
I did see
so
something
technically
online,
you
like,
shouldn't really be talking about him. So.
No, I dug it, man. I got far too into that, like a lot more than I should, and it made me watch a lot more like actual just wrestling in general, because it was just I don't know, nostalgic I suppose is the best word.
Yeah, it was an odd day.
But that just the whole build, man. I kind of really bought into it all.
That's cool.
But I suppose it's because I still see Dreamer from time to time. He's come to a few gigs, so I stay in touch with him, and which is nice. And then obviously I speak to you a lot, so it's like, oh, sick, two guys who, I'm still in contact with regularly.
Yeah.
Having like a match, and it wasn't just a match; it was the whole build. I didn't even expect Dreamer to respond. Like, so I was just blown away by it all, man. And after watching the match, I mean, hey, it was never going to be like you versus Dreamer when you're young enough to not care about being able to function as a human being for the next 4 days. You know.
Yeah.
Like you just wouldn't do that now. Like it would just be retarded. It was probably retarded doing it then, but I think we were just stupid enough not to care.
Yeah.
But for what it was, man, I thought the psychology of the match was wicked, and the elbow drop was nutty.
Well, thanks.
There's no need for that.
I'll stop working my gimmick now and we'll carry on. But I agreed with all you said about everyone around that time. I mean, it's just ridiculous that just so many good wrestlers were around in the backyard community around that time, 2003-ish. Mental.
Yeah, it was crazy. And again, we were just like really far behind, like me and Naylor, because I don't know, Naylor, you've met Naylor, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, a couple of times.
Obviously, Naylor's soft as shit. Like he's a big teddy bear. Like he's just a lovely guy. And although he'd go on to get like trained and stuff, and then like did all right on like the local indie circuit. At the time when we were little, like he was never gonna we weren't gonna push each other to get any better. It wasn't until we started like going and traveling places and meeting other people that the desire set into right. Okay, let's try and get really good. And the first show we went to the first time we travelled, because we'd been to John Cameron's YWF.
Yeah.
We'd been there for like a couple of day shows because it was only in Peterborough, so it wasn't too far away. And me and Naylor, like his dad drove us, I think, one time, and then my dad drove us the next time. And you go for the day, and you'd meet people like Selby and Dave Veal. We were only just meeting these people. It was like just weird. Like the first time we were branching out and going and meeting other people in this country that have this same weird hobby where you go and beat your mates up in a field. Like, it was really odd to be travelling for the first time to do that. But then we went to ECW, sit down and mark out 2003, which was the first time like our parents had been like, right, you can stay. So we were going to go and do like an overnight thing, which was like, shit, man. Quite good. I don't know, at that age as well, you've met people on the internet, you're going to go stay at their houses. And so we knew we were staying at Costa's. And we knew that a lot of the other guys were staying. I think it might have been Dreamers. I don't know. We were in Bromley. And I'd had a bit of heat on the forum with this guy called Steve Farrell. Because I said something about Nature Boy. He was talking about the Nature Boy. Now I know, in gimmick probably, or Nate just being Nate. And I said something just pointless like, Ric Flair's shit, and he like went off on this big rant about how he this was like when Nate was like fully forum active Nate, just free flowing, and so he like properly shot me down, and I'd heard he was going to be there, and I was just like, oh no, like shit, if he recognises that I'm that guy, I'm in trouble, so I was dead nervous, and I met him. We met Costa and Dave. Naylor's dad dropped us off, and we got in a car with Costa and Dave. Dave was driving. And as we're driving along, Dave just kept going, Eds! And then looking at me, and then carrying on driving. Eds! And just looking at me. And I didn't know what to say back. I was just so confused. And then Dave Hill was like a big, big guy at this point. I mean, he's still a big guy now, but like this is when Dave Hill was like wide, and he's not wide anymore. He's just tonk.
Yeah.
But it was just so scary and overwhelming. And Costa being Costa, and we were staying with Costa, and Costa was kind of like the one all of ECW picked on.
Yeah.
You know, not in like, but he was. You know how it was with Costa. Like that weekend, we wrestled him in a gauntlet match, and I think he was already champ. Or whether he won the title, I don't know what it was. Costa's gauntlet, and he like just took some nutty bumps. He took like a dive through some trees with a light tube across it. But that weekend was the first time we actually saw up close. Like, oh my god, like these people are serious. Because we watched Pac as well. Pac versus. Well, should I say that? Probably not. Do you get in trouble for that? Is that how it works?
Adrian Neville.
Oh, is that what you say?
Oh.
Either way. But
I think we'd say he's gone past the point of it really mattering.
Yeah, probably. It's not like anyone cares what we're talking about anyway.
Exactly,
we're not important enough.
No.
But just the difference in standards to me and Naylor for the first time trying to do sloppy German suplexes, like terrible attempts at neck bumps, to seeing people doing like picture perfect 450s just on the floor. Like it was just ridiculous. The golf in class. But that was the first time I think I thought, right, do you know what? I really want to get involved in this and get better and travel more and do this more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what does it. I think when you travel to see, I don't know where it starts, but I don't know. For me, it was when I first went to an interfed and saw how much better everyone else was.
Yeah.
That I thought, oh shit.
It kind of pisses you off, man. Like fuck, man.
Yeah.
I think the kind of people were a lot different to sort of friends that I socialised with outside of backyard wrestling. I mean, I was quite, at that point in my life, I was quite over, like, at school and stuff, whereas completely not over in, like, the backyard world. Yeah. Like, it took me ages, like, years, and that probably made me, like, want to wrestle better, because I kind of had a point to prove, I suppose. Because Naylor was, like, so much more over than me, like, as a person. Everybody loved Naylor, and it was just like, I was Naylor's, like, idiot mate. I never really got on with the ECW guys. I kind of like I think I had like quite a lot of heat with them as well.
Why?
With Selby, Burton, and Dave back in there. Just because I was a bit of a knob, wasn't I? Really. It was just I don't know. We were very different people growing up, and I'm kind of brash, and I don't know.
Were you a bit of a Scott Smith on the forum?
Yeah, probably for a long time. I don't know. And then you sort of, it's weird, isn't it, being a teenager? There's some strange years in your life, and you're socially awkward, and you want to get along with everybody, and there's always like all the in-jokes and the click stuff. I wasn't like submersed in that as much. I was kind of on the outskirts of that. And Naylor was like well over, and like always got on well with ECW lads. And then of course, he kind of got completely submerged in NLW. He had a girlfriend there. Gibbs moved there. Dreamer moved there. It was just around that time. It's kind of like, I don't know. I didn't sort of click with as many people. It wasn't until after that. I suppose sort of. I don't know. I can't remember sort of how big the gap was between doing all that kind of stuff and then Nate just turning backyard into one fed.
Yeah.
which was just pretty much the coolest thing, though.
Yeah, it's up for debate, that isn't it? Really.
I don't know.
Everyone's got an opinion on it.
But I don't think I ever really sort of got over until like BBWF.
Yeah.
Because BBWF were just sick.
Well, just going back a little, you had THD, right, and then FU.
I joined pretty much every fed going.
Yeah. What did FUX stand for?
Federation Ultra Extreme.
Gotcha. Right. So did those two feds merge then, or did you just kind of do both?
It started with THD was like mine and Naylor's thing, and then. Me and Naylor used to, when all the Welsh stuff kicked off, me and Naylor were always falling out. So THG kind of just fell apart because me and Naylor couldn't be asked with it anymore because we weren't really getting along. He was always in Wales, NLW, and we did a few like comeback shows with Reaper. Reaper came down and wrestled, but it just didn't really work. And then Basil was taking FUX like dead seriously, and we built the ring base. Once the ring base came along, THC just died off. And people from THC came to the ring base at the start, but none of them really sort of stuck around that long.
Okay.
So from FUX, when FUX went... What came after FUX? After FUX, me and Gibbs joined UWF.
Ah, I remember seeing you in one of those videos, I think.
Yeah, we joined for 2 shows, and then they sort of just fell apart. It was after because those guys, they had probably the first ever real proper cool fucking setup. Like their backyard ring was the best thing in this country at that point. Like nobody had ever seen anything like it. And they were posting these videos, and everybody wanted to hate it because that's what you do. You guys are kind of all right. I hate it. I mean, they weren't like the best wrestlers in the world, but I liked the dynamic. I loved that you had like Thunder Dragon, who was this crazy flipper, and then like he was coming on, and then you had Hellfire, who was like hardcore, and they were doing like tack bumps on signs and stuff. And then you had Parit, and he's one of my favourite ever big guys. I think Parit.
Yeah, he was pretty sick.
I just loved it. He was just powerful, and he was doing some chongy shit before other people were really doing chongy shit. Because I don't know, everyone was starting to do that. Like different styles were getting over online. So everybody was following the different trends. But they had that ring, and it was really cool. And they had Southern Britfest. Was it Southern Britfest?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they got told to take the ring down. I think like the neighbours complained. It all kicked... Oh, fuck, I burnt my pizza, man. Oh, mate, I'm going to send you a photo of what I've just done.
You fucking idiot.
Mate, I know, right? Shit. Oh, that's so disappointing.
You deserve a slow clap for that.
I was massively looking forward to that. Oh my god. Yeah, there's no saving that.
Oh no.
Oh well. We're gonna have to raid the freezer. Oh, that's so upsetting, man. 2 seconds, I'm gonna send you a photo. Dude, look at the state of that. It's absolutely destroyed.
Oh, that's horrible.
Oh, mate. Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Fuck. I'm just going to have to order a takeaway or some shit, man.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a blessing in disguise.
Maybe.
This is what happens when my missus goes out and leaves me on my own.
Yeah, you podcast and burn pizzas.
Yeah, literally. This is why I'm getting married, Luke, because I'm incapable of fending for myself.
Oh, dear.
She's more of a carer than a wife.
So, right, so how was it, like, going to UWF then? Like,
I don't know how that came about, but FUX had kind of been done with. Basil was going off to Newquay, and I was bumming around for another year at school, I think, because I was in year spastic, like the extra year of sixth form. And so I was best mates with Gibbs at the time, and we got chatting to Paris, and they were like, look, we've got a ring base. We started up again, but we want to get some more people involved. So we just went along with it. I got permission from my mum and dad, and I went to stay at Thunder Dragon's house with Gibbs. And we had 2 shows. There was only ever 2 shows, but they were both pretty ridiculous. Like that ring base was like a cloud, an absolute cloud. I'd never wrestled on anything as nice as that. And because it was so nice to bump on, you could just practice on it all day. Like the FUX ring base was a death trap. But I don't know, shit. Did we already have the ring base? Yeah, we must have done. Fuck knows, man. Like the sort of chronological order of events is so hazy.
The timeline.
Yeah, there's probably an easier way of saying that.
Yeah, I'm sure I saw a clip of you doing a big leg drop at UWF.
Yeah.
So where did that start, doing the leg drop as a big signature?
The first ever one was because I wanted to try and do like either a swanton or a 450 off a car at UKBYW against Thunder Dragon. Oh yes, that must have been before, because that's where I met the UWF lads. No, I met them at Dangerous Jeopardy. I think Dave Fields. The event wasn't at Dave Fields, but everybody stayed at Dave Fields, that's right. But I didn't go to the event, but me and Naylor went down after. So that's where I met the UWF. So fuck, but where does that fit in with everything? I don't even know. But yeah, the leg drop came at UKBYW because I was going to do a swanton or a 450 off that car, and I just didn't have the bollocks. So I just bottled it and went for a leg drop, and it just, by absolute chance, it looked really cool. And like people like I saw like Selby marking out. I was like, yes, sweet. And so from then on, it's just kind of been one of those things that I know we'll get a mark out. Do you know what I mean? Like it's because I love a high spot. It's a nice, easy high spot that doesn't involve me having to have any real skill, and it's only gone wrong twice. And I've done it a few times. Unfortunately, you were the recipient of one of those wrong times.
Yes.
Sorry, dude.
That's alright. It looked a lot worse than it felt, at least.
It looked horrible, man.
Yeah.
Oh, what a botch. What a botch.
What was the other one?
Yeah, that's not cool. And the other one was Ashley Dunn in NAW, where I think his head was on some chairs, like a stack of chairs. I've only seen this like comp recently, and I forgot we'd even had this match. It was like a 5-minute main event.
Yeah, I remember.
We ran out of time. But I did a leg drop on the back of his head, and it fucked him up. We were talking about this the other day, and whilst we were watching it, and yeah, that was another massive botch. But on the whole, they've always gone all right. I love a good leg drop.
Cool. Who are your like favorite backyarders around that time, like 2003ish, when it was all kind of kicking off for
you? Obviously, at that point, everybody's looking at the obvious UKBYW guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I really liked Farage as well around that time. Farage was doing like, I suppose, a lot more cruiser stuff. He went like a lot more strong style as time progressed.
Yeah.
But his earlier stuff, obviously because of the trend of where UKBYW was at, everybody was like doing the flips and stuff. But he was, I just had a real, like, the Lego Man was cool. GBH was always a massive fan of. Yeah. And of course, he was part of FUXPW, but he got a lot better. He was always good. But he got a lot better after that time as well. So GBH was cool. Shit, man, 2003. That's a long time ago.
It is, yeah. What about pro wrestlers? Like, who you kind of?
At that time, it was probably Edge was my thing. I liked ever since sort of the Edge Lita thing that we referenced earlier when we were hating on Matt Hardy, and him being a shit brother. I said that like he was my brother, like you, that bastard Matt Hardy. But that kind of propelled Edge, and so Edge, I was a massive Edge fan. I just love the charisma, and because he wasn't massive as well. Obviously, when I was yarding, I think I probably grew towards wrestlers who were not massive more, because they could do, you know what I mean? I could steal spots from them. I was never going to be able to, get behind a big guy and think like, yeah, I love that power move. There's no way I was going to be able to do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So the sort of more, and Edge was quite lanky as well. I dig a lanky guy. There's nothing wrong with that.
Were you around for the Lock Up Your Sons? You obviously you weren't in it, but
I was. There's one picture which I didn't authorise.
Oh.
I should have complained, right? Like at the beginning, there's just loads of like stills, like trying to make Backyard look like as graphic as possible.
Yeah.
And at like an FUX practice show once, I did like a blade, like a practice blade, like during like just a practice off-camera match.
What?
I think with Cherry actually. And Baz was, oh fucking hell, what are you doing? And someone took a photo of that because it was like the best blade I've ever done. I didn't really blade much, but at that point it was like, I want to give it a go. And it wasn't like nothing like yours. Like you're crazy. Like you look like you're dying. It was just like enough that it dribbled down past my nose, which for me was like, oh my god, yes, a real blade. Usually like nothing.
Yeah.
And someone happened to take a photo, and I'd probably post it online like, yeah, look, I'm Willard, yeah. And it made its way into just, you have to like pause the video to even see it.
Yeah.
But it's in there.
Well, that's interesting.
But I remember at the time seeing that and being like, oh my god, I'm in it. And that was it. That's my only involvement in that.
That's the second time I've heard of practice blading. Selby said something about that. I can't believe it. Oh my god. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the context of like, I'd taken like a shot with a sign or something.
Yeah, but in a practice match.
It wasn't like a serious, like, do you know what I mean? Like, we were talking and stuff. And there wasn't anybody there.
Yeah.
And no one was filming it. And we were just, because we just got that ring base like after school. Because it was there and nobody knew about it. We could just do whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
We put up like a show, like just me, Naylor and Tic Tac did a show once. Three blondes wrestling, 3BW. Just because we could, just because someone had a camera and we were there. But that's, yeah, oh god man, That ring base was wicked. I forgot about that ring base.
That's another good summary of backyard wrestling. Just because someone had a camera and we were there.
Yeah, it was just it was. It was like fuck it, let's film. Then
So,
have you got a camera? Yeah. Do you want to have an event? Yeah, go on then. And it wasn't even an event. You'd post a comp of just a match.
yeah.
There was so much media as well. People were just like posting stuff all the time. Because everyone was, no one had jobs or anything. Like, you could just wrestle every weekend. And like the holidays as well, school holiday, you could wrestle whenever the fuck you wanted.
Yeah.
Can you imagine doing that now? Jesus Christ.
I know. What did you think of the documentary Lock Up Your Sons? Just generally.
Do you know what? I don't think I remember it too well. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I remember like Jimmy Burge was the most hardcore backyard wrestler in Britain, and then his dad found out.
Yeah.
I remember that being like a thing, which was amazing. And it kind of put, on the most part, it put backyard over well. But then it also had those two dribblers, like Casey and JoJo or something. I don't fucking remember. But they were just, what were they doing? Like pizza cutters in the back garden.
Playing with figures.
Yeah. Oh, mate, it was terrible, wasn't it? Oh, I don't even want to think about it. just even sort of, Oh, it was cringy, man. Had it not been for that, it probably wouldn't have been like that bad a reflection.
Yeah.
And it captures some of the atmosphere, like being, because I'm sure there was NLW in there, right?
Yeah.
Like they caught the atmosphere of like an actual interfed, like a crowd. So I was always going to enjoy that and be like, yeah, fucking yeah. I didn't care too much about like, oh, people are going to hate this. Because, I wasn't in it, so it didn't really affect me.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind it, man. I think some people are like unnecessarily negative about it. Yeah, people sort of, oh god, that was. But I don't know. I kind of got fond memories of it. I remember I stayed up to watch it on Channel 4.
Cool.
Like checking out the listings, like, oh, this is it. Because people used to come along all the time. Do you remember? Like, people used to come along all the time on the forums and be like, I'm a filmmaker. I want to try and, or I want to take a story about backyard wrestling. Like, there were people that popped up all the time, even back in like the first ever forum days. And there are people that have done it since. Like, I saw one the other day that some guys did with Nage, and it covered Costa and Short Round.
Oh yeah. The good, the bad, and the backyard. I think it was called.
Yeah. And I don't ever remember seeing that.
No, I remember at the time when they were filming it. Just being.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, hey man, I get high a lot, so everything's a bit hazy. But I don't really remember him being there until I saw that thing the other day, and then I kind of thought, oh, do I remember? I don't really know.
Okay.
But yeah, to get a backyard thing on TV was pretty huge at the time. Like Channel 4 as well.
Yeah.
I remember the buzz about it, like when it was first going out. Like everyone was like, "Fucking hell, tonight's the night." Backyard, UK backyard on telly.
No.
I think if the people that made that had waited another 6-7 years, like imagine if they'd have come to one of the last Heat Fests.
Oh man.
When backyard had evolved to the point where they were like essentially indie shows,
Yeah.
but in a field, in a ring.
I don't know though. I like the idea that there's like 2003 footage of NLW. Like in proper like HD quality, even though no one's got it anymore.
Yeah, shit. I suppose, man. Like now, but then, yeah. But I don't know, man. I think like in hindsight, if we could have an opportunity to showcase UKBYW like at its best point, then you'd want to give them one of the later Heat Fests.
I don't know. I think people would argue maybe the NLW interfeds. I don't know. I see your point. But...
stuff. I mean, like from a quality of wrestling wise.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And, like the fact that we were able to go from being like back in the day when you're just like a guy wrestling your mate on a mattress in your back garden to like people actually wrestling people from different continents.
Yeah. It's
just like, what the fuck, man? Like, how did this happen? How did this progress to the point where we're actually meeting people from different continents to fight?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't predict that when you were like doing your first elbow drop off your nan's shed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that would be the snapshot that I'd take if I had like a chosen point where you could film Lock Up Your Sons.
Yeah. Well, I gave you a 2.5 hour film. I don't know what more you want.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, but I still haven't got it. Like, where do I watch it?
Well, you should have saved it at the time on your computer.
This is the thing. I've got it on like a laptop somewhere that probably doesn't work anymore. Like due to I don't know.
I need to get around to.
Warner's destroyed every laptop I've ever owned, and I haven't got any space on my phone. And fuck, I'll be fucked if I know how to get like backyard things onto a tablet.
Yeah, I need to re-upload it somehow, somewhere.
I saw the other day that Big Bass does Wales.
Yeah.
But with no sound.
Oh yeah, they took the sound off because I used Hotel California at the beginning.
Where can I watch this with sound?
I'll have to upload it, I guess.
Excellent.
So, yeah, I'll sort that out.
Can you upload it somewhere where I can just click and play, or do I have to download it?
Yeah, I'll try Vimeo. Yeah.
Alright.
So, what were your thoughts on the NLW interfeds? What was the first one you went to?
When the NLW days were around, like everyone was at the point where they were so carefree, and people were just finding, like, I suppose, alcohol, weed. Like, people were doing that who hadn't done it before, and it was like there was a real party vibe to the NLW interfeds. And then, of course, you had like the guys like Nate, who were like just completely not into that. We used to have like a thing called, like, there was like the Subway lot, and then we'd all go in the Subway and get pissed and high or whatever, and all the other guys were going like adventures. I think they like went to some like a house or something, Tradiga house or something.
Adventures, like Scooby-Doo or something.
Yeah, literally. And well, you know what nature's like. He loves an adventure.
Oh yeah, true, very true.
So they go do that, and I think there was like stories of a time Nate once went to the Subway because he was like he joined NLW, didn't he? Shit.
Oh yeah, he joined every.
He was in NLW for ages. It's no wonder that guy ended up working for like on the railways.
Yeah.
He must have spent more time on trains than any other human being I know. Like, who goes to Wales from Newcastle every other weekend?
Oh, I know, yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, I heard the story when he went and got pissed in Newport.
Oh, you probably know more than me.
Well, just bits.
I don't think I've ever seen Nate pissed. But then I kind of like that. Woo! I've heard the stories, but, you know, I've never seen it with my own eyes. It makes it more legendary.
Yeah.
They're like mythical tales of the Nate going off the rails.
The legend of Nate shitting in a grit salt.
Nate's probably like been in more feds than me.
I think he's been in every fed he's gone to. He was a part of WWE for a while. It's mad.
Jesus.
Yeah.
There's no one more dedicated.
No, definitely not.
He's like the John Cena, I suppose.
Yeah.
But Nate was like literally. Nate is UKBYW, like BYW personified. Yeah. He's outlived every other yarder.
Yeah, you should have been there for Britfest, man. He was awesome. So
I bet he went mad, didn't he? Woo!
Yeah, just turn back the clock. I mean, obviously he's not as not spry and agile as he used to be, but he fucking gave it his all, and it was
who fucking is, man?
It just felt like 2005 again. It was wicked.
Nate was always wicked.
Yeah.
Like Nate didn't. There was a point where Nate just like safe hands, like on any backyard card. You know that it doesn't really matter who Nature's against. It's going to be like an alright match.
Yeah.
You know, and whether it's a main event match where he's like fighting DOD, or whether it's like an opening match with someone like Jack Fox, where he's just putting young people over, and he just seems to get each match right. Like whether it's a big occasion or whether it's just, you know, he does a job.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Next thing I wanted to ask you about was the old leg incident, which I remember reading about.
That was it. Yeah, shit. That was my first time in. We just keep straying off the subject. I just love the chin wag, you know me.
Yeah, I remember it from the best-selling autobiography of Steve Farrell, when you broke your leg.
Oh mate, that was terrible. That was the first time I went to NLW.
That was the first time, was it? Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, it was. Was it Hell Frozen Over, or was that a thing?
Yeah, I think that was late 2003 in the first.
Yeah, it was at Christmas. It was 2 days before New Year's Day, in fact. So on the first day, we went to the golf course, and I was meant to be wrestling Tom Reaper, and we were just going through some spots and just playing some cool chains. And at this point, I was doing alright as well. Like, I think there were people might have even been looking forward to it because our styles would have worked well together. And we tried monkey flip, just a monkey flip to feet, and I just landed in some kind of divot, and I just heard a big snap, and it like sprung me out of the ground, like it projected me into the air. It was weird, man, like a spring, and then I landed, and instantly I was just like, oh my god, I was in so much pain, and I was like screaming, and some people thought I was just like selling or just messing around or being an idiot.
Yeah.
But it was Dreamer who come running over, and I was just like, oh my god. And Dreamer was like, try and get your shoe off. And I was like, oh, it might be all right. And Dreamer was like, mate, it's broken. And he'd broken his, I think probably a couple of years before that, maybe, during ECW. So he was quite like, no, mate, honestly, we need to get this checked out. So Dave Veal took me in his car. And I think even at this point, people were like, oh, it's nothing serious. And he took me to the hospital, and I went in with Tom. Dave dropped us off, and me and Tom went in. I saw the triage nurse, and she said, oh, it's probably just a strain. That's my Welsh accent. It sounded more like Mrs. Doubtfire, but that's what she said. It's probably just a sprain. Thanks, love. Gave me some paracetamol and said, wait in the waiting area.
Oh, my God.
Bitch. Honestly, man, I sat in there for 2 hours. Me and Tom watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids in a waiting area, and then the bottom of my leg started going purple. And a doctor walked past and looked in and was like, have you been seen yet? And I was like, well, no, not yet. He was like, well, right, let's take you through now. He whammed me full of painkillers. And then they were like, we need to get this x-rayed. They took me down to x-ray, and it took like 2 guys to sort of push my foot back round so they could get the x-ray. And I screamed, man. I screamed so bad. That's like the most painful thing ever. And then they left me on the children's ward whilst they went and had a look at them. And me and Tom got high on the gas and air. It's just like, yes. And that's the first time I've ever been in hospital. It's the only time I've ever stayed in a hospital overnight as well. But they came back, and they were like, yeah, I'm really sorry, but you've broken your ankle. I was like, fuck. And your leg. I was like, oh my God. What am I going to tell my mum and dad? They thought I was at Naylor's house, which is about a 10-minute walk from their front door. And I'm in Wales, and they're going to get a phone call from a fucking Welsh nurse to say, I'm really sorry, we've got your son here in Wales 2 days before New Year's Eve. Oh, and he's broken his ankle and his leg. Oh, man.
Fuck.
My mum, I don't know whether she was like, oh, are you okay? Are you okay? What are you doing in Wales? Oh, how's your leg? Are you okay? What the fuck are you doing? She just couldn't work out whether she was angry with me or, like, concerned. And so they kept me in overnight, and they first they gave me morphine, that's a fucking trip. Done it once, probably, honestly, if I ever get my hands on it again, I'll be a happy man. I'd rather not have to break my leg to do it. But that wiped me out for the rest of the day, and then in the evening all the lads came and visited, which was pretty cool. Like, they're allowed in twos. And Dreamer bought me a book. It was a Ric Flair book, I think he was reading at the time. And so I read some of that, and then spent the night in this children's ward in my backyard wrestling gear, like a right lemon.
Oh my God.
Yeah, with a fucking plaster cast up to my bollocks. You got to choose the colour, so I got a black plaster cast, and because the catches, because I had to saw it in half all the way up because the leg was still swelling, but it was black with red things around it. It looked like Kane. It was fucking wicked. But yeah, my parents had to come and pick me up on New Year's Day from Tom's house. I had to drive to Wales on New Year's Day.
Oh my God.
To take me home.
What was that drive home like?
Painful, man. Luckily, I didn't really get bollocked because it was so fucked, and I was in so much pain on the way home. Like, I had to sit in the back with my leg, like, between the chairs in the front, so like my leg was like resting on my mum's lap.
Yeah.
And my dad was driving, and I was just like in so much pain all the way home that I think by the time I got home, after being in the car with me for that long, my parents, like, they were beyond angry.
Yeah.
They were just like, Jesus, you've broken your fucking leg. Let's deal with this. Yeah, that sucked. That's the main reason I had to do another year of school. Is because I missed so much school. Because of that. Yeah, that and glandular fever all in the same fucking year. Ruined me.
Now, how did you feel like about wrestling at that point? Because I remember when Dave Williams broke his arm in WCW, Denzel just snapped it. I mean, it was like it just brought it all down to reality for me, and I was like, fuck, like, this can happen. And I like suddenly was like reevaluating everything, but by the next show it had gone. So
it is weird. Like, it sounds really odd. Now you've said it like that, it kind of makes me think that, what an idiot. But I didn't really see it like that then. I think it was more a case of, oh shit, is it going to be okay? And I mean, I was in plaster for like 3 months. Like, it sucked. I was in like a straight leg plaster for like 2 months. So I didn't bend my leg for 2 months, which was fucked up.
Jesus.
And then when I came out of that, my local hospital, because they're so fucking quality, they just took the plaster off and were like, right, off you go. You can keep the crutches for like another week. And I hobbled home from the hospital. And I had like no feeling in my foot and I couldn't move it. And they sort of said, you know, you just get used to it, walk on it a bit. But a couple of days later, I was no better. So my dad like panicked. And luckily, he bless him, he paid for like private physiotherapy. But the guy that we went to see said that if I'd left it longer, like my foot would never have been the same. Like it, fucking NHS hospital done me in, man.
Fuck.
But yeah, so after going through all that, I don't know why I ever thought it'd be a good idea to go and wrestle again. But I wanted to go back to Wales because it wasn't just about the you know, that was kind of like my social thing at the time. I was just starting to get over with people, and I was just starting to find chicks. And NLW had a load of chicks. You know, that was kind of the place you'd go as a backyarder if you wanted to have a wrestling match and then try and finger someone. Like it was like a fanny pit. NLW was just that. So there was kind of that draw to it as well. But no, I remember I went back to NLW for, I think it was arse kicking and willy flicking. And at that point, I'd kind of developed this friendship with Nate. And Nate's kind of, well, we'd hang out and then it got weird and we'd kiss and hold hands. And no, basically, me and Nate were like just like good mates, good buddies, like and appreciated like the same kind of wrestling conversations. So he was sort of talking about let's try and get in a feud and stuff. And people were starting to do like feuds over interfeds, and that hadn't really happened before. You couldn't really feud with people outside of your own feds because you see them once a year. But when NLW were throwing like interfeds every other weekend, for fuck's sake, like people could develop like stuff over time. So we'd speak a lot online, and then we'd plan stuff. And he was like, "Do a run-in on my match at arse kicking and willy flicking." And I leg dropped him off a chair like during his match. I was the heel, he was the face, and I wrestled him the next day. And that was the first time I'd wrestled since breaking my leg in Wales. And I can't remember when that was. I think it might have been like May of that year, April, May.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that like it's like 5 months later, something like that. And that first match with Nate, he literally spent the whole match working on my leg.
What?
Well, yeah, because the psychology was so easy to do. And obviously, I was like worried, but so was Nate. So it wasn't like he was going mad on me because he was fully aware of the situation. The crowd bought it because, it was so easy to do. So it turned out to be like quite a good match. And because that was a good match, I've instantly got that buzz again of, yeah, fucking hell, I've forgotten how good this feels. Let's crack on. And I still got no feeling from my big toe up to my heel in the right side of my left foot.
Really?
Yeah, that'll never come back. Because I trapped like tendons or nerves or whatever underneath my ankle when I broke my ankle. Because it's just never repaired.
Shit.
Yeah, fuck you, backyard. And a dodgy hairline. There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
It's got this weird line of hair that, unless I shave my head, there's not a lot I can do. And that's from just stupid, retarded blade jobs in front of my parents' mirror. or at the FUX ring.
Or the DDT at Heat Fest.
Oh, God, yeah, that was bad.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, so breaking stuff in wrestling is bad. I remember when you broke your arm.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's probably the first time we came across each other.
It's a horrifying experience. And
it was
just a miracle.
So horrifying that they decided to make the X-rays of your terrible injury the most searched image on Google.
Yeah, they published it. I signed papers and everything, so it was they could use it. And I mean, it's a miracle that I soldiered through it, really. But I guess that's just strength of my character, really.
Hey, fair play. But that was like a nice little one-up for me in the world of like online forum days.
I was going to say
when there's no mercy, it's ruthless because everybody wants to get up on the food chain, and then there's this new guy that comes along that is so easy. It's so easy to find that picture, and I'm a spastic, so fuck you, Luke. Like you should have been more clever. But yes, but that was like a nice little yes, Inspector Adam, well done. I was like in your face, new guy.
You're welcome. I served that to you. You're welcome.
Thanks. But you know what I mean? People the clique would move their way up, and you'd have to, fucking hell, man. We had a fucking, what was it called, special school.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of people were we? You could just stick like retarded kids like in special school.
Yeah. That was interesting.
It was odd. But that's what Beckham was about at that point. It was also about being like a good wrestler. But it was on about like working your way up that kind of social hierarchy as well.
Yeah.
It was strange. But you could also work your way up that social hierarchy by getting better at wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, people were brutal. If you go to an interfed and there were like people there that were shit, like I suppose like Rob Darby, for example. Rob Darby was never going to be any good, right? But people were relentless in laughing at his matches or, just taking the piss because it was easy to do because it's safety in numbers and there's a big gang of you, you're all in a crowd. And so ideally you want to work your way up to be part of the group that's, not on the receiving end of that.
Yeah.
And you posting dumb pictures of a broken arm kind of gave me a stepping stone. So thanks, Luke.
You're welcome.
Nice one.
So where did you go after the leg break then? Looks like that's like 2004, right?
Yeah.
I mean, were you still doing FUX at that point, or I mean?
EWE.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we did the Wrestling Is It Boys tour. So there was a group of us. I think it was like me, GBH, Nate, might have been Mikey Wreckage, and Ty. Ty did it, and maybe Billy as well. But I'm sure Ty did it. But we did like FUX, then 2 days at Wrestling Is It Boys, and then we ended up with a BBWF show on the lawn outside John's house. On the last day, and we wrestled like every day on ground. Like we were so immersed in it. And EWE was really kicking off at that point. It was like that was Nature's first go, I suppose, at like a super fed.
Yeah.
Because he was combining as many feds that weren't really as active as they'd like to be, and he was putting on the shows. Like he was setting it all up, booking everything. You weren't having to do that. You weren't have to arrive on the day and plan the whole show. Like Nature had it written down for you. This is what's going on. And the first time I went there, Nature, like you know how Nature's like, he loves his surprises. So and I'd kind of taken a break after the sort of THEFUX. Bazza had gone to uni and stuff. I'm sure it was around that time. God knows. But Nate was like, come along, but it'll be a secret. Don't tell anyone. And I did one of them like secret run-ins. And the pop from that was wicked. And that's when I started wearing like that, like the red and white shirt.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, like around that period, like, and I'd kick pads and stuff for the first time. And that's when I was like doing, like trying to do red stars and trying to get flippier and stuff. And I had like a good series with GBH and a sick match with Brandon. That was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, like because he was just a mate for like one of my best mates at school, who I just kind of got into wrestling. People just get hooked on it, I suppose. Like you bring him to a backyard show and he just wanted to get involved, same as Gibbs did.
Yeah.
And I had a match with him. So yeah, EWE around that time, I suppose. And I stuck it out there for a while. What happened after EWE?
You retired.
Yeah, I did, I suppose.
And you never wrestled again.
Yeah, Nate retired me, the bastard. And then Ashley Dunn retired me again at Heatfest.
So what was the deal behind the retirement at EWE? Was that your idea? Was it a Nate angle or what?
No, it was. I suppose probably part. I want to actually quit. I've had enough. Because mate, you know, I hate bumping. It kind of got to the point where I just didn't like bumping anymore. I never really enjoyed ground wrestling because everything hurt. Like I've got no muscle on me, no meat. It's just like bones in a bag getting dumped around on the floor. Like it's never gonna be comfy or fun. But I did it for so long that I was just like, oh, I don't know. But then at the same time as well, I was quite happy to have a sick comp and everyone go, yeah, oh, Ads, that was wicked. Oh, don't stop wrestling, Ads. Because it's backyard, like no one really gives a shit. But you want to feed your ego, and
yeah. So
there's probably a part of that as well. I'd probably had a row with someone. That used to be why I'd quit, especially FUX. Me and Baz would fall out and I'd be like, fine, I'm quitting. And Baz would be like, oh, I don't care. Fuck you, I won't quit then. Yeah, well, let's just carry on. But yeah, I think there was a little bit of an intention to quit, but obviously never enough to actually quit.
Yeah.
Which is why I carried on.
That was a really good match with Farrell, if I remember. I got the comp of that somewhere.
Yeah, well, I suppose if you think there's any chance it's going to be your last match, then you put the effort in.
Yeah.
It's quite funny that I retired, inverted commas, so many times, and then instead of actually having a match that was like my last match, I just stopped one day.
Yeah. When was your last match?
That XBW warehouse show.
Oh, yeah.
It was me and John versus Baz and Billy, and John said, "Right, I've planned the match. You're taking the heat." And even Billy and Basil were like, are you kidding me? This is a shit idea. Like, our Tate's bumping and he's not very good at it. Like, it's going to make all our moves look shit. Like, in the real world, I should have just been the hot tag guy. Because even by that point, like, do you know what I mean? I didn't really bump around anymore. All my matches were based on just silly character spots and a lot of holds and techie stuff with the odd high spot that was quite safe.
Yeah.
So to try and do that, it was just never going to work. And everything hurt, and I hated every minute of it. And then Billy did a J driller for a table on me, I think, at the end. And then Basil 450'd me. And it was like literally, all I was thinking was, I can't wait for this match to end. I can't wait for this match to end. I can't wait. Like, everything hurt. The J driller, like, fucked my neck. And I'm sure my neck's still, like, a little bit hurty from that now. And that was, like, some years ago. And Basil 450 winded me. And I just had enough. And as soon as the match finished, I just had a cry, like a little girl. I just got out of the room and I just sobbed. Because everything hurt so bad. And I think at that point, it was just, I just knew, like, do you know what? There's no way I'll be able to ever do that again. Like, fuck it, man.
Oh, I can't believe you cried. You're such a fucking pussy.
I know, man. But seriously, everything, it hurt that bad. It doesn't take a lot for me to cry anyway. When Hayley Cropper died on Coronation Street, I cried for 45 minutes and I didn't watch the programme again for another 3 weeks. It made me that miserable, mate. I'm a sensitive soul. But it just, everything hurt, man. It felt like I'd been beaten up. It wasn't like a staged, like, fight to try and get ratings from my friends. It felt like I'd been beaten up. And I was just like, look at the state of it. Like, I was in my 20s already. I mean, this must be, how long ago was that? Like, that must be like 4 years ago now.
I don't know when it was.
4 or 5. Who knows? But nah, that was it. And there was no sort of, this is my last match or a speech at the end. My backyard career ended with me rolling out of the ring and crying. What a legacy.
Well, let's just skip ahead to that then. Obviously, you're not going to wrestle again. I mean...
Nah.
No, so you got bigger fish to fry at the minute, haven't you?
Not even that, man. Like, there's just no desire. I mean, I went to, as you know, the RCWA stuff recently.
Yeah.
And, hey, it's cool. Like, the crowd is still cool, and it was really nice to see guys that I've not seen for a while. And just to be involved in that kind of feel again. But it wasn't really, it's not me letting go with, like, some of the, at the time, like, my best mates in the world, you know? And I go there with Bazza and Ash, who I see all the time. And obviously, I'm still really close to the BWF guys. And it was nice to see young guys like Sam Jude. And obviously, I've seen Will Ospreay a couple of times in the last year or so. And Nate, it was cool to see Nate. But even after just being Ashley's manager, like, I accidentally got hit in the face with a rope from Ash doing a plancha. I was holding the ropes open for him, and he kicked the rope, and it nearly knocked me out. It smacked me in the jaw, and I saw stars. It was so painful. It was like being kicked in the face, and I just thought, you know what? Fuck this. It's just too dangerous for me to even be. I'm so clumsy as well. Even catching planchas, I end up, like, hurting myself. I don't know. If Ash goes back to RCWA and I've got, like, a free weekend, then I'll go down with him and I'll do silly stuff on camera. Like, get slapped by Dad. Oh my God, how did I forget that?
Yeah, how was that?
Weird. Really fucking weird.
Did he stiff you?
Nah, he didn't even want to do it. Like,
No.
I had to force him. He was like, why don't I just push you over? Or, like, I'll trip you. And I was like, no, slap me. And he was like, well, and then he came out in the car park. And I was quite drunk anyway, because me and Baz had been drinking all morning. We were both, like, massively hungover when Ash picked us up. So I decided it'd be a good idea just to carry on drinking. Poor Ash, bless him. But we tried to persuade him to do it. And he came out in the car park. And he was, like, talking about, how do I do it? Do I slap my wrist? I was like, no, dude, just slap me. And he couldn't get his head around it. Like, he was really against the idea, but we talked him into it. And I give me a good slap as well. He went for it. But then I deserved it because I told him I was going to put my fist through Zach's face. Zach's fucking face, in fact. I think were the exact words.
Couldn't believe that when I saw it.
Mate, hey, look, I hadn't been to a Backyard show for years, and I got there and found out that Zack and Dad are now on-screen characters.
Amazing.
The first thing I did was go to Nate and go, let me do something with Zack and Dad. And there's the only thing I wanted to do, let me do something with Zack and Dad. Zack and Dad are, like, legendary, and I just couldn't believe it. I had no idea. Like, I hadn't followed any RCWA stuff, and I thought people were joking when I got there. And when they turned up, I was like, oh, my God. Dad with his long silver mane, looking like, I don't know, Bischoff's creepy uncle. It was just crazy, man. Crazy. And then Zack cutting promos. Who would have thought?
He loves it, man.
But they've just... Do you know what? I suppose it's... Once you get a bit older, it's not so much weird. And like back in the day, it was kind of like, who the fuck is Zack and Dad? Like, and the creepy chants at Heat Fest, like, rape the dead and fucking them in the arse. Like, that was some terrible shit to do to both Zack and Dad.
Yeah.
But at the time it was funny, and I stand by it being fucking hilarious. But when you see it now, you just sort of think, fair fucking play to the guy. Like, the effort he puts in to help Zack get as much out of life as possible.
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah.
Zack's obsessed with it. Like, he knows more about stuff I've done than I do.
Yeah, it's weird.
He's like a backyard wrestling encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And that's cool, man. And so it was cool to that. I bet it was cool to do stuff with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as wrestling again, fuck that.
I was watching back my match with Dreamer, and during the build-up I was saying stuff like, oh, think about your future, Dreamer. And during the actual match, Zack calls out, think about your future, Dreamer.
That's so fucking funny.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, because he just sucks it all in, man.
Yeah, man.
He just throws himself into it. And that promo with Ash was, I don't know, Zack's down on the fly as well. Because none of the promo was really, apart from the slap and like the cue lines, the rest of it were like Zack and Dad were freestyling. And the bit when he was like, who's famous ever come out of Bedford? And we were just going through people, and then Bazza goes, Paula Radcliffe! Paula Radcliffe! Paula Radcliffe uses the streets as a toilet! Wow, like, where did that come from? And it was so bang on the money. Who'd have thought that Zack and Dad would be so entertaining?
Yeah.
Jokes. Luke, I'm going to have a piss.
Alright, man.
We'll take like a, I don't know, 2-minute break.
Yeah.
I might have to see what's in my freezer as well after Pizzagate. What a fucking nightmare, man. Fucking Matt Hardy's just done a leg drop off the top of the cage.
He's still got Unforgiven on.
Bleeding like a motherfucker. Graphic.
Graphic.
Oh, mate, what a blade. And Lee is just cuddling him, getting covered in blood. And Edge would go on to get much better, and Matt Hardy would just take loads of drugs and become some indie wrestler. Anyway, sorry, man.
That's alright.
It's a Friday night, I'm on the beer, so...
the magic of editing will...
The seal has been broken. Yeah, I should imagine there's probably a fair bit of this that will need to be edited, Luke, which is...
not too much. On. So we'll stick with just the present time now, just to kind of... We'll get the end out of the way now. What do you... I mean, are you happy with that being your last match, or would you have preferred to have had the special last match?
I don't know. Nah, I just think... At that point anyway, I just... Every time like an event was coming up, it was more about the social side. Like, even at that show, we went and camped at the old XBB arena. And that was a wicked night. Sat by the fire, playing guitar with Burton. And obviously by that point as well, I was really close with Burton. So it was just... I just enjoyed sort of... I wish I could have done more of what Burton was doing. Just going to events and being just there at events without having to wrestle. Or, maybe getting on the mic. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think I was sort of that asked about actually wrestling. I just quite like coming to the shows. So yeah, after the match, I don't know, man. I just didn't care about it anymore. I didn't want to. I didn't really have anything else left to do.
Yeah.
And then when BWF, because we didn't really do anything else after that, there was never sort of a let's get back together. No one wrestled anymore. John stopped. Billy stopped. Bazza's just Bazza. Ash didn't really care anymore. There was just nowhere to wrestle, and none of us really cared.
Yeah, it was... Britfest was great this year, but I mean, there was this weird kind of vacant feeling I had throughout the day, seeing all the new guys wrestle, and Alex and Chris Goodwin and Billy wrestle and Nate wrestle. It just felt a bit like this isn't our thing anymore,
Yeah, no, I can completely relate.
It was like
That's kind of
it was cool. It was like, yeah, this is great, Farrell and Alex, but then there was just this little thing, just like, oh, you know, I don't know. It just seemed like it was a weird time warp in a way.
yeah. I kind of went there thinking it'd be the same. Like I could just walk back in there and everything would feel the way it used to feel. But there's just something missing.
Well, it
I
felt
think
like
we
it
had our
was,
time and space thing
yeah,
there and then.
it felt the
It
same to
happened. It
me,
is
but
what
the
it
same
is,
for
and
those guys, you know.
yeah, they're living it. That's their there and now.
Exactly.
But kind of
Yeah.
we done that, and I don't know. I felt like a bit of an intruder.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I was doing my thing, and hey, I really enjoyed myself. But that's probably because I was drunk and I was getting slapped by dad. You know, that's for me. I was having a blast, but I don't feel like any of them particularly cared. And it kind of was a bit like, well, who's this fucking knob that's just turned up to do stuff? Um, so it wasn't the same, and it's not the same social aspect as well. You know, there were events where everyone got along. You know, there were some knobheads there, but generally, like the heat fests, they were just the best. Like the come downs after those events, like going back to the real world after like spending that amount of time with your mates, you know, who all had a common ground and like stuff that they found funny and in jokes and out jokes and just everything about that experience had gone. Like from there was nothing like that by going back and seeing the RCWA shows.
Yeah. I
I,
think I'd agree with everything you said about being there, like how it felt, but just replace getting slapped by dad with getting punched by a dreamer, and I wasn't drunk.
oh well, more
Otherwise,
for
I
you.
felt all the same things, really, as you just said. But, uh, but it was good.
Yeah,
It was good.
it was fun and nostalgic, but I mean I went to Burton's house last weekend? No, weekend before. No, maybe last weekend. No, weekend before. 2 weekends ago. I went to Burton's house with Bazza, Ash, Billy, and Ross, and Selby was there. Um, and that was more enjoyable. You know, just meeting up, and we had a massive barbecue. Um, Hung out, got really drunk, watched wrestling together, and just reminisced. And
Yeah.
that's far more fruitful than going to like an event now, you know, because
Yeah.
I suppose it's the people, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
And although they're great guys, like, there's no one there I dislike,
No, no.
but it's kind of that's not really my thing, you know. I don't have history with these guys like I do with like the BWF guys and these the ECW guys.
Yeah.
So you're never going to get that enjoyment out of it. It's never going to be the same. But that's just life, isn't it? You grow up and you move on.
Yeah. Everything ends.
Yeah, it does, and I'm just massively grateful that I got to be a part of Backyard during that period because, like, it's just this strange little pocket that nobody else on earth really gives a shit about, you know.
Yeah.
But for us, it was like a lifestyle choice. We just fully committed to this shit and put on these events all over the country and wrecked our bodies to do it just so we could post about it online. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy. But I wouldn't change it. I think it's wicked. Absolutely wicked.
Well, that kind of takes away my next question. Then I was going to ask if you felt like it was all worth it. Well, did you regret like some of the bumps? Maybe. How's your body these days? I mean,
Uh,
I know some people are pretty fucked.
I don't know. I'm okay. Well, obviously, like I said, I've got no feeling in that part of my foot. I've got a recurring right elbow problem.
Hmm.
But that wasn't from being in a match. I was sat on a chair when there was a RCWA event in the basketball courts that they had
Yeah.
in the ring, like the night before a heat fest, and we went there with the intention of camping in this basketball court in the middle of Essex
What?
on a Friday night. Yeah, everyone was going to do it. People did.
Oh my
But
god.
I drove down there with all the BWF lads, and they wrestled. I didn't wrestle that day, but on someone's entrance, I can't even remember who, but it was a heel, and I was just sat on a plastic chair, booing the heel, and they pushed me off the chair. They pushed the chair back, and my elbow hit the concrete,
Oh.
and it's never been the same since. So, like, what are the odds? At a Backyard show, I actually got injured. After all the stuff that we've done, I managed to get injured of getting pushed off a chair whilst watching wrestling.
Do you know what it is, man? It's fucking RCWA. They're really unsafe, right? When I was at Britfest, right, biggest injury I got was what's his name? Sat Swagger or something. He's anyway, he was a manager in the main event. He had this big kendo
Oh, the
stick.
black dude.
Yeah, He had this big...
He's cool. He's Rob's manager.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's wicked. He's good on the mic.
Definitely, yeah, no, I like him, but there was this angle in the main event where he had this kendo stick, which is like a couple of bamboo sticks taped together, and he just launched out of the ring, and it just hit me square in the chest like a javelin, like right with the tip, and my chest is still a bit yellow, and RCWA, man, unsafe.
Yeah, there we go.
All I'm saying. No, I'm
You
just
heard
kidding,
it
but
first. You heard it here first. RCWA hurt people in the crowd. I was at an event where that happened to Bazza when he was wrestling. It was a pro event ironically in a town called Marston, which is where I now live. But it was in our social club, and Naylor was wrestling, and Bazza did moonsault plancher during the match, and he grazed like this old lady's lap. But because of the world that we live in now, of course, our family, as soon as the show was over, started crying. Oh, lawsuit! Oh, he's really hurt her. He barely fucking touched her. But it would be Bazza. He's like the most, I don't know, he's like, on a good day, he's the most placid of guys. And he didn't really know how to, I'm really sorry, but what can you do? And the guy, and Bazza was loving it at that point, loving his indie. And the guy just said, right, I can't book you anymore. And stopped booking him because of that. So take note, RCWA. If you hurt any more crowd members, you'll probably get in trouble. You're only allowed to do that if you're Brock Lesnar. Then you can throw car doors at people and people don't care. So, as long as they get to go backstage.
Yeah, just to make it clear, it was a complete accident. It was all cool, but I just thought, wow, I was worried about getting hurt, but it was really just being in the crowd that was the most dangerous.
Yeah. That's the ironic thing, is that I'll happily take power bombs off scaffolds through tables, and I managed to injure myself by getting pushed off a chair whilst watching a match. It's just ridiculous. But that's the only really recurring thing. I don't know. I suppose I don't really know whether my back aches just because I'm getting older, or whether that's got anything to do with backyard. Do you know what I mean? You get aches and pains, and there are times where I'll get twinges and stuff, and I'll be like, well, I don't suppose I've helped myself, Yeah. And I expect there to be some kind of, I don't know, some payback along the way, further down the line.
Yeah,
I expect to sort of be sat down and be like, why have I got this pain here? Well, is there any reason? Well, I did backyard wrestle when I was younger. Well, there we go. This part of your back is absolutely fucked. Because it can't be good for you, man.
No, of course it can't.
And I kind of feel kind of blessed that I know I broke my leg. Apart from that, though, it could have been a whole lot worse.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Definitely.
It's pretty retarded. None of us knew what we were doing.
Especially when you look at the neck bumps and stuff.
I had no training. I was just copying other people that I was watching on YouTube videos. Or not even YouTube. There was no YouTube.
No.
You had to fucking download the cunts, didn't you? You had to fucking...
From Angel Fire.
get your 56k or whatever it was. NTL world. And if it was a big comp, I had no hope because my NTL cut off after every 2 hours.
Oh my god.
BRB. Reconnecting, BRB. Ding, 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 ding. Fuck that shit, man. As if we were that dedicated, we put up with that shit to download videos of other people on the other side of the country beating each other up.
That was great. That was like that fucking guy at Police Academy. What other noises can you do?
I don't know. Hey, it's Friday. I'm getting drunk and high. This stuff happens.
So there we go. That was the podcast with ads. Hope you enjoyed listening to it. Part 2 will follow very soon, and we have a couple more in the pipeline ready to go. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, and good night.